EXT, pale yellow wall, Kanniyakumari safe zone. Afternoon. The solar flare is high, turning each idle moment into a slow roast. But the survivor in the straw hat, slumg, badge of the ration collective faintly glowing on his wrist, sits beneath the half-withered neem tree, his maroon shirt clinging to his skin, lips drawn tight in calculation. He eyes the parched plaza beyond, where scavenged water drums and cracked hydrogel pods line the shade, fingers brushing his stubble as he weighs the next city to risk for the co-op's survival. Fiji Duzet, the water uplifter, leans from the crook of an upcycled shade sail, cheerful even as sweat beads on his brow. The grids hold him, boss. Chat wants us to push north, but last time the carbon credits barely got us through the checkpoint. Dr. Hen Ryan, ecological mediator, flickers onto the battered holopad, voice filtered by static. If we deviate too far, the filtration mesh won't recharge. The heat island is swallowing Negercoil by sundown. Nearby, OBJ Vet, the archivist, balances on a broken curb, snapping a picture with his scavenged lens and grinning. If we make it, this'll be the log they remember. If not, at least it's a good last shot. A metallic ping ripples through the plaza. Another ration ping, another plea from the digital net. Slum G1 inhales, hat shading his eyes, then murmurs. All right, co-op. Next move decides who gets to drink tonight. EXT Ration Street, Kanniyakumari Urban Heat Zone. Hamise Tapchan. Slum G1 stands, sweat evaporating off his maroon shirt in the searing haze, the battered solar wand in his hand streaming a fractured feed across the carbon net. Neon Tamil glyphs flicker above the shop fronts, signs for grain rations and pharma masks, all watched over by the sterile blue glass of Hotel Jayam, the district's last hydrogel haven. Fiji Duzet paces at his side, flashing a hopeful grin. Co-op, new pings on the net. Someone's bartered a half-liter ration. If we can charm the JM clerk, maybe we siphon enough for the Padmanabhapuram run. Omin Mastrel lingers near a faded palm, eyes scanning the restless crowd as a convoy of dusty survivors lugs buckets past. Every minute in this sun costs us. I'll handle the fare haggle. You two make the ask. Overhead, a drone hums, its carbon credit scanner whirring, while Slum G1 turns to the glinting holocam, voice low and urgent. Hotel Jayam, last clean tap before the blackout. We move now, or queue with the rest come ration hour. Dr. Hen Ryan's filtered voice crackles from the wristband. And remember, no open offers, syndicate ears everywhere. The squad slips toward the hotel's shadow, every step a gamble between relief and another day, exiled into the burning street. ENT, Solar Bus, rural Kanniyakumari Road. Afternoon. The battered solar bus rattles through the jungle corridor, its air scrubber humming weakly against the onslaught of midday heat. Through the cracked front glass, a red ration bus, emergency blinker flickering, leads the exodus, threading past a convoy of eco-bikes and scavenger rigs. Outside, palm groves sway in the wet haze, their roots snaking through half-flooded ditches, while sun-pale buildings peek from the green, tagged with faded syndicate glyphs. Inside, Fiji Duzet balances a salvaged waterlog on his knees, scribbling notes as droplets bead across his brow. Co-op, look at this. Every convoy is running close to capacity, he says, voice pitched so the driver can hear. But if we time our stop with the ration bus, we might siphon a few credits from their overflow. At the front, Dr. Hen Ryan leans over the dashboard, eyes scanning a holographic map flickering from his wristband. Heat index is up by 3 degs, and I'm reading a surge in urban heat island signatures, he warns, glancing out as an auto rickshaw veers close. If we're too slow, we'll be caught in the blackout zone with the rest. Through the open windows, the chatter of digital pings and muffled laughter from the collective passengers mixes with the cicada drone, each message another coded plea. Bro, you need a mic cover? Shaky bus. Sound fucked. Go BRB and back. The bus driver, sweat tracing lines down his cheeks, shifts gears, muttering, "This road's a lottery. Pray the grid holds." Green palms blur past as the collective surges north, every kilometer a bet on survival. The backpack at the dash bulging with barterable seeds and scavenged hydrogel pods. Int. Solar migration bus, Kanniyakumari ration route. Afternoon. The bus hums on filtered sunlight, cabin thick with the scent of sweat and recycled air, as Fiji Duzette, perched by the window, scribbles ration calculations onto a battered slip of ration paper, knuckles white as he glances at the empty street beyond. A world scorched, then painted in garish pastel by the retreating monsoon. Through the dust-fogged pane, a lone figure in faded orange scavenger's gear passes beneath the shadow of the temple tower, which gleams, a promise of sanctuary or another mirage. At the rear, Dr. Hen Ryan keeps a steady gaze on the driver, noting each pulse of the dashboard's hydrometer with anxious precision. If the convoy grid slips, we're queued for the next blackout, Hen murmurs, voice low, scanning a map patched together from chat pings and solar data. Fiji shoots him a hopeful look, forcing a small grin. "This driver's a gigachad, Doc. He'll get us through the ration audits, no detours." The chat feed glows in the dim, words flickering in coded desperation and dark humor. Warnings about syndicate vapes, jokes about smuggling seeds, a squabble over whether the circus still runs now that elephants are climate refugees. The black backpack, stuffed with seed chips and the last hydrogel pod, rests on the sun-warmed metal seat, silent testament to the day's bets. Outside, the heat shimmers between crumbling paint and neon glyphs. But inside, for one lazy moment, the bus is a lifeboat drifting toward a broken horizon, burdened with hope that the next stop will hold something more than ration lines and brownout sirens. Exovilava intersection. Afternoon. The solar migration bus groans to a halt beneath the riotous archway of the old temple, its paint faded by decades of monsoon and sunstorm, now streaked with new glyphs. Carbon ration notices, hydrogel prices, and the scrawled warnings of the climate militia. The street teems with barterers and mask-clad scavengers, scooters packed with jerry-rigged water canisters, a market of survival where every banana and rusted tool is wagered against the next blackout. Fiji Duzette leans out the scratched window, fanning himself with a ration slip, voice pitched to rally the weary riders. "Co-op, don't lose heart. We'll restock here, wait for dusk, and hit the enclave before the grid flickers." Owen Mastrel, steadfast even in the chaos, shoulders his battered utility bag and nods at the stream of hopefuls crowding the temple shade. "Remember, every face here's a survivor. Let's barter, but no one gets left behind." As the last rays catch on the temple's solar mosaic, Dr. Hen Ryan emerges from the bus, recalibrating his wristband to filter the chat's data pings, each encrypted with offers, rumors, and desperate jokes about old-world luxuries and the price of a cold drink. A child in scavenger rags dashes past, clutching a battered filtration mask, while behind her, a street vendor shouts the new price of clean ice, 3 seed chips and a rain pledge. The tense, bright moment pulses with the same energy as every migration stop. A marketplace on the edge, hope flickering like the sun through smog, and the co-op bracing for whatever the next kilometer brings. EXT, Vilavo, Climate Barrier Street. Late afternoon, the bus sputters away, leaving Fiji Duzette and Dr. Henryan standing in the shimmering hush, where heat ripples dance along the painted walls, posters peeling to reveal ration directives and blue warnings of hydrogel embargoes. Palm shadows stripe the cracked pavement, each swaying frond a sundial ticking down to blackout. OBJ Vet, camera dangling, skips ahead with a bright, Look alive, Co-op. This mural's a map, not just a warning. He points to the yellow and blue Tamil script, where Neil Bloom, dusty and wide-eyed, traces faded glyphs with a hopeful finger. This street's too empty, Fiji mutters, glancing at the dense greenery and distant mountain. No barterers, not even a carbon trader. Something's shifted since the last migration. Henrian kneels at a rain-scoured poster, voice steady but urgent. We move quick. Syndicate patrols scan this sector after sunfall. Neil, mark the time. Every 5 minutes we check for a safe house. Objet vet, log the mural's code. Fiji, keep that hydrometer ready. Above them, birds wheel through the muggy air, unbothered by human scarcity, while inside the neon-lit gloom of the wall's shadow, Shadra Mark III, crouched and grinning, snaps a seed chip between his teeth. Still green, still standing, let's not waste our luck, team. Forward before the grid drains us dry. The empty street is a fragile corridor between worlds, paradise and exile, each step echoing with the tension of survival, hope, and the unbroken line of the Co-op's resolve. EXT Rural Road, Kumarakoil, late afternoon. A hush settles over the cracked tarmac as Fiji Duzette and Dr. Henrian move along the overgrown edge, scanning the thick underbrush where fallen fronds and wind-shorn branches spill onto the road, a tangle of green left uncut since the last cyclone rationed out the local cleanup crew. The solar heat lingers on their backs, humidity thick as a second skin, while coconut palms creak overhead, their fronds whispering rumors of cooler times. OBJ Vet skips ahead, camera held high, grinning. Chat claims there's a banana plantation out here. Bet the syndicates left it wild, or maybe just too full of spiders to bother. Henrian glances at the faded map on his wristband, markings blurred from sweat. If that's true, it's a risk worth the water. Those trees filter the air better than any mesh we've got left. A distant shape, half human, half hope, trudges the empty road, sunlight glinting from a battered filtration mask. Fiji calls quietly. All clear, Co-op, Kumarakoil's green line still stands. Push for the hills, keep eyes on the shadows. Behind them, a stray dog noses through the roadside litter, drawn by the scent of cracked seed chips and masala dust, as Shadra Mark III laughs. Even the mutts here know where the real rations are. The group presses on, each step a negotiation with the land, lush, abandoned, and quietly waiting to claim the next story of survival in a world where even peace feels rationed, and the promise of sanctuary is just one more kilometer through the carbon haze. EXT, Padmanabhapuram, Ration Enclave Road. Hammanina. Dusk paints the cracked lane gold as Fiji Duzette scouts ahead, boots crunching through a scatter of dry coconut fronds, his battered water meter glinting in the soft light. Preena Peachtree, draped in her patchwork sari of old greenhouse mesh, hums softly as she checks the banana seedlings stashed in her sling, their leaves trembling with each faint breath of filtered air. Overhead, palm trees sway, their roots snaking into the tangled mesh of the neighborhood's rain-catch gutters. Every home a fortress of pastel survival, each window flung open to vent the day's heat. A woman in a neon-threaded sari glides down the road, nodding at Fiji, whispering, "Grid steady for now. If you've credits, the west tank's running clear." Shadra Mark III jogs behind, flashing a coded hand signal at the overhead wires, where 3 crows perch as lookouts for the carbon militia. Neil Bloom pauses by a sun-bleached wall, scribbling glyphs and murmuring. Padmanabhapuram's green line held last monsoon. Maybe this enclave is the real sanctuary. Fiji grins, tipping his hat toward Preena. Co-op, let's move. Chat pings say the ration queue starts at the blue gate, and if we're careful, nobody gets left in the blackout. The group presses on, weaving between motley motorbikes and hushed doorways, hope flickering with each shared glance as the sun dips, a parade of survivors staking their claim to one more night's peace beneath the palm-streaked sky. EXT. Padmanabhapuram. Green vault edge. Evening. Golden light spills across the enclave's boundary as Fiji Duzet tiptoes between rows of banana trees, their broad leaves shimmering in the filtered breeze. Each tree tagged with a hand-scrawled carbon chit, proof of survival in a world where fruit is currency. The white-walled shelter, half swallowed by feverish green, rises like a mirage at the field's edge. Prina Peach Tree kneels in the loamy furrow, coaxing a sapling upright, her hands gentle but sure. Keep the roots tight, Fiji. If the night winds come, we lose seedlings, we lose next season's hope. From behind a clump of wild ginger, Neil Bloom emerges, scribbling field notes on a battered ration slip. The clouds look different here, he says, voice awed. Thicker. Maybe the mountains holding the monsoon longer than the coast. Owen Mastrel stands sentry at the tree line, eyes fixed on the distant glow of a rival enclave, whispering to Objvet. If the syndicate pushes past the palms, we flood the mesh with decoy pings by the others at dawn. The co-op's net hums with encrypted chat, warnings, seed trades, a debate about the spiciest chickpea, while overhead a lone drone blinks, scanning the lushness for illicit irrigation. Prina grins at Fiji, sweat glimmering on her brow. Let's make this place last, even if just one more ration night. The mountains loom above, green and silent and ancient, as the survivors settle in the warm hush, guarding their tiny green vault beneath a sky still torn between monsoon and memory. EXT. Padmanabhapuram. Green vault fields. Evening. Beneath the heavy hush of dusk, the enclave's survivors gather at the field's edge, the lush rows of banana and coconut trees casting long, cool shadows over the carpet of green. Prina Peach Tree kneels by a cluster of wild shrubs, coaxing a seedling upright, her hands gentle, voice low and bright. This one's thirsty but stubborn, like us, na Fiji? Fiji Duzet crouches beside her, thumbing his battered water meter, eyes fixed on the misty silhouette of the mountains beyond. The hydromesh held, he says, optimism infusing his words. If we ration the next cycle, we'll have enough to run misters for the saplings and the crew. Owen Mastrel stands sentry at the tree line, gaze flicking between the darkening sky and the encrypted pings streaming across his cracked holopad, each a distant co-op's plea for safe haven. We can't answer all of them, he murmurs, torn. But tomorrow, we send the renewal brigade north, promise one more patch of green. Objvet, camera slung across his chest, grins as he snaps a panoramic shot of the untouched field, recording the rare piece for the digital archive. It'll make them believe, he calls, voice playful but hopeful. Even if it's just pixels, hope's the best ration. As the evening breeze stirs the grass and Prina gently waters the roots with the last cup from her canteen, the survivors huddle close, their laughter threading through the verdant silence, fragile, defiant, alive, knowing that in this moment, sheltered by green and mountain shadow, their tiny vault holds out against the world's collapse.